Hello, you are tuning in to the Capsule in Conversation podcast, dedicated to women and their well-being. Today, I'm joined by presenter and entrepreneur Laura Hamilton to talk seizing opportunity, building mental resilience, and flying high to a place in the sun. So sit back, relax, and get ready to join us in our conversation. Hello all, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've all had a great week. Now I can't wait to chat to my lovely guest today, as she is a wearer of many hats. As a TV presenter, she's one of the most familiar faces of Channel 4's hit show A Place in the Sun, and since 2022 has become a regular fixture on ITV's This Morning, reporting on travel and lifestyle. She's laced up her skates for dancing on ice and slipped into skis for the notoriously perilous The Jump. Away from our TV screens, she's a hugely successful entrepreneur, developing over 19 properties, and in 2017 opened the doors to coffee shop and bistro Lord Roberts on the Green, a venture that saw her become a qualified postmistress and a landlady, alongside, wait for it, training to be a pilot, all while spinning the many plates of motherhood. I don't know how she does it, but I can't wait to ask her. It's the lovely Laura Hamilton. Hi, Laura.
Oh, hello. How you doing, Natalie? Oh, it's so nice to talk to you, because I always see you like on social media and, here, there and everywhere, and always liking your posts and how beautiful you look. So good to talk to you.
Oh, thank you. And the same as well. It is one of those funny things, isn't it, where you feel like you really know each other and you're like, actually, we don't know each other that well, but we do, if you see what I mean. It's lovely to see you as well. And I have to say, you are one of those people that always brightens up my day. If I'm turning over on Channel 4 and I see you, I'm like, oh, there's Laura looking so beautiful in the sun, just making me feel better. I mean, as I said then, you have a lot on. Like, how do you do it all?
Yeah, I do. But do you know what? Like, it's amazing to hear you say that about A Place in the Sun, because I think, that is what it is. It's such a feel-good show. Just want to put a smile on everyone's faces, a bit of blue sky, sunshine. And I love being part of that. I've always been a real kind of positive person, glass half full. Even when times are tough, I just think, right, come on, let's try and see the best in things and make something good of a bad situation. And so yeah, it's really nice to hear you say that.
Well, this is
what I don't know how I do it, having an amazing supportive network of friends and family, I think.
And that's so important, isn't it? Especially kind of like when you work in the industry that we work in, but also if you're a freelancer or, in many different industries, as women, you do need that kind of village to help you to with children and childcare.
And you know what? I don't know if you can relate to this, but I really feel like as a woman, the older we get, it feels like we find our network, our team, like women become more supportive of you, I think, as a woman, the older you get. When I was younger, it really did feel kind of a bit more like competitive. And I want to do what she's doing. Whereas now it's like, I love nothing more. I was talking to one of the girls from A Place in the Sun actually last Friday, just saying how I'm loving what she's doing. I mean, she's not on the show anymore. She decided to leave. It's Danny Menzies, and she was always passionate about cars and animals. And I said to her, Danny, follow your dream, follow your passion. And I'm loving watching her do exactly that. She's gone to Vegas, she's presenting car shows. And I'm like, I'm loving it. You're smashing it. And she said the same to me, because we met up like a year ago. And I sort of said, oh, I'd love to do this and I'd love to do that. And I'm making those things happen, and she's making the things happen that she wants to. And we don't see each other all the time, but we just support each other through social media. And I think that's so important. Like, I love it, seeing women support women rather than try and bring people down.
Completely. You know, it's so important that we do have that support network and that you do have those cheerleaders, you know, the people that would talk about you when in a positive light when you're not in a room, and that
Yeah.
would go, oh my God, she would be brilliant for this, or, you know, that person would be fantastic, or have you checked out this person? You know, it
And
was,
there's space for everyone,
yeah.
we're all different in our own ways, and there's space for everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we were just mentioning then about you seizing opportunity. You were going to go off and do a degree in law and psychology, and instead decided to go, oh, I'm not going to do that now. I went into children's television and became a runner for Dermot O Leary. Now,
Yeah.
explain this to me.
So what actually like happened for me when I was probably, well, I always loved singing and dancing. I always was always in the school play, and I remember my mum and dad once taking me. The very first show I saw was Starlight Express, and I watched the people skating around on the stage, and I was just in awe of them. I was like, that is amazing. I want to be up there. I want to be doing that. Like, that is the dream for me. I'd love to be in the West End. And I was, at a little dancing school, and my mum, they were brilliant, but they always used to say to me, are you sure you want to do that? Because if you do that, you're going to be working every night, and you won't have a social life. And it was almost like she was trying to talk me out of like various things. And then I was like, no, but I do want to do that. That is what I want to do. I want to be performing. Anyway, I got to age sort of 16, and I didn't really know at the time that there were options to go to like performing schools or whatever. So I ended up going to an all-girls school to do my A-levels. And I kind of thought, well, that's it now for me, ever trying to pursue a career in that kind of world professionally. So maybe as I get older, I'll just do little things on the side. But by the time I did my A-levels and I was 18, I thought, I'm going to try and, why, if I can't be performing, why don't I try and work behind the scenes in television? So I wrote to the school that I went to, were really pro, like everyone goes to university that comes to this school. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I want to do that. And they said, well, you must apply. So I applied, and I thought, well, I'll try and do something serious and grown up. I'll apply for law and psychology because I loved psychology. And I thought, well, maybe I could get into like the legal side of TV one day. But at the same time, I said to them, look, I'm going to write to television companies. I'm going to try and get a job as a runner. And they were like, what's that? And I'd done a little bit of research, and I knew that was the kind of person that made teas and coffees and the General Dog's Body. And I wrote to all these production companies and a few channels, and I got the various knockbacks. But Channel 4 wrote back to me and said, we want to see you for an interview. So that was in the June, and I literally had my last A-level to do. And they offered me the job to start in the August before I'd even got my A-level results. So it was amazing. I never, like, the letter that I got from Channel 4 basically said, your life is never going to be the same again. And I was like, oh,
how true is that?
And so I got the job as a runner on a year's contract, and I deferred my degree. And my school were a bit like, sorry, what are you doing? Why are you going to make teas and coffees? And I was like, because this is what I want to do. And actually, at that point, I think I never looked back. I did defer the degree again for another year, but I ended up going freelance in TV. And I just had like the best time. So I ended up working behind the scenes for 4 years in television, working as an assistant director on Family Affairs, which was a soap on Channel 5, and a bit of ADing on like various films, working on music concerts. And when you're freelance, it's very easy to build up a very colourful CV in a very short space of time. And so after 4 years, I think I was working on Big Brother's Little Brother with Dermot at the time, and there was an audition that came up for a local person to play Cinderella. And I said to Dermot, "Oh, I'm going to go and audition for like Cinderella in Panto." And he was like, "What? What are you talking about? He's like, no, like, you don't do that, do you?" I was like, "Well," and I went for it, and I got the part of Cinderella in this local Panto. And there was an actor called Nick Bailey, who was Dr. Truman in EastEnders. And he was the one that really inspired me to try and make the transition from behind the camera to in front. And he said, get the stage, look in the stage newspaper. And basically, I saw an audition for Fun Song Factory, which was a kids' TV show I did on CITV. And it's crazy. It's crazy how, that was with Aston Marigold. And he obviously went on to be in JLS. So I did that for 2.5 years. And, that was it. I never looked back. I never went to uni. And I ended up getting onto the property ladder as well, and by mistake. And it's mad how, 20, oh gosh, like, I mean, I was 18 when I started in telly. I'm 41 now. And you think, God, all those years ago, well, 12 years ago, I ended up back at Channel 4 on screen in one of their flagship shows. So it's just, yeah, it's just been a crazy roller coaster, I think.
Even when you were young, though, do you think that if you saw an opportunity, you were like, yeah, I'm going to go for it? You didn't kind of sit back. You saw it and was like, like you said before about the glass half full. Were you always like that, of like, I'm going to make the best of this situation?
Yeah, I think I've always been somebody. So when I was at school, I always was just like not competing against anyone else, but just wanted to be the best I could be for me. And my teachers used to say, "You're going to burn yourself out one day. You're going to burn yourself out." But hearing that, like, not negativity, but like almost being told, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't do it," almost like just spurred me on to make me want to try harder and prove them wrong. I don't know if that's because I'm a Tory and I'm a little bit stubborn, and I'm like, nah, I could do it. I could do it. I could do it. And just, yeah, just that challenge. If someone says that's never going to happen or that's not possible, I'd just be like, well, it is possible. Let's see how we can make it happen. Let's try. And obviously, this industry, you get knockbacks. People do, you go for castings, you go for auditions, and things don't happen. But I think if you keep trying, opportunities do eventually. And you're nice and you're kind. That's like the biggest thing. And I just love the fact that I've still got so many friends that work behind the scenes in TV that are like, I'm one of that. Like, we're all a team, irrelevant of whether you're behind, you're in front of the camera, whatever you do. Like, nobody's position is possible without the other person offering that support. And that is like one of the biggest lessons in life I think I've learned, not only just from being in TV, but running businesses as well. Like the coffee shop that I set up back in 2017. It was so important to me that I knew what everybody was doing at every level, whether that was like how the shop floor ran. And, when plates needed washing up, I was regularly washing the plates up back because it was chaotic on the shop floor. And I just wanted to be there to support the team. Or I'd be behind the post office, posting parcels at Christmas or doing whatever. I couldn't be there all the time. But I just think it's so important, particularly when you own a business, or, you're trying to build a business, that know what everyone does at every level, because you get so much respect from your team. And you are one of those people. Just because you're the boss doesn't mean that it's all about you. And I think it's a bit like that in TV. It's very easy sometimes to kind of think, well, I'm the star of the show, I'm the one that's on screen, it's all about me. And actually it's not.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to name any names. I've seen some examples of quite naughty behaviour from certain talent, and you think, oh, stop it, it stresses me out, because I'm the same in terms of understanding everybody's job. I started in retail, and my mum's a manager now, and it's one of the things that she'd always said was like, you have to learn from the ground up. You have to, and like you were saying there about going in and being a runner and understanding that you make the tea, you make the coffee, you get people to set. Sometimes you might be the driver as well, but understanding that every single level, kind of those jobs and the ins and outs of it. As you said, you get more respect from the team, but also you have more compassion.
Yeah, every cog in the wheel is so vital in order for it to spin.
100%. And I've always described it as a jigsaw, you can't have the full picture without everybody's contribution, basically.
Yeah.
And as you were saying there, do you feel like, because you do have that background from behind camera, that you're able to pitch things better, and that you come up with ideas that you think, I know that's going to work because I know what it takes to make that?
I think so, but I also am very respectful of the fact that when I'm, for example, if I'm doing A Place in the Sun or any of the shoots that I'm doing, the director, and ultimately, it's their show and they're in charge. So like, I can put my thoughts and my opinions over and sort of say, oh, have you thought about this, or have you thought about that? And ultimately it's their decision. But I do feel that I feel quite comfortable to be able to put my thoughts and ideas forward, but I still try and do it in a diplomatic way and be respectful of, it's your show. how it looks is up to you, but have you thought about this? And then sometimes I go, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And I can imagine you now, like doing, a place in the sun, or whether it's this morning, and you've got to get from A to B really quickly, and you're on a time schedule going, right, okay, I'll just de-rig with you, I'll take everything down. I imagine you're that person.
Yeah, because as I said, you can't do it. Everyone's help. So yeah, no, but I love that. I love to be part of the team, and I never, do you know what, Natalie? Probably like you, I know you've done what you do for a long time. I never take it for granted ever. I always just kind of think, gosh, like I've been doing this for as long as I've been doing it, and I just feel so lucky that that's kind of, this is what I'm making a career out of, and kind of long may it continue. But I never take for granted. And I say that to my children as well. My son is mad, absolutely mad footballer. Like, it's all he wants. I'm sure like a lot of like 10-year-old boys. And my daughter, she's mad about gymnastics. She's less driven than my son. But I say to Rocco all the time, Rocco, you've got to have a backup. A bit like my mum. I can hear my mum in me now. Have a backup. You sure you want to do that? You sure you want to do that? And he turns around to me and he says, Mum, don't doubt me. Don't doubt me. And I'm like, wow, okay, go for it, Rocco. I can't knock you for being like that, but I also do want him to realise that just have some other things going on. And I think that's probably why I am the way I am, like being, entrepreneurial, always having fingers in pies, just thinking, well, this might not last forever. So if that doesn't last, it's always good to have some. And that's kind of where property happened for me, because I didn't mean to fall into property, but I found this kind of love and passion for buying a rundown old wreck and then turning it into something, beautiful. And yeah, I love that. And I've made a career, I suppose, out of that. And then I've been able to combine it with the TV stuff, which I never ever dreamt possible. But then I'm also aware that if the TV stuff does ever stop, I've got my property and passion, kind of, that I can still be doing on the side.
It's important to have that side hustle, isn't it? I think, it's really important to have that other passion, that thing that you really love, and that still makes you feel like you. Because I think so many times as women, especially, we put our eggs all in one basket, and we're like, oh, focus on that. You've got to stay true to that, stay in your lane kind of thing, that mentality. When actually, if you are in a precarious, career genre, or even things like we've seen with COVID, we've seen like how things can just be taken away, or redundancies happen, and with technology moving the way it is, people losing jobs. You do need that other thing that still makes you feel like you, because self-worth is such an important thing, isn't it?
100%, 100%. And also, that doesn't mean, because sometimes people might say, oh, well, like you're a jack of all trades and master of none. Absolutely not. Like, I think to have, different ideas, different things going on, and some of them work and some of them don't, like I've set up businesses where, I just think, oh, well, that didn't really spark. However, you still learn from it. And just because it isn't a success doesn't mean that you can't take away something from it and go, right, okay, well, turn the negative into a positive. So yeah, 100%, having different things going on is, and I also think that when you're like that, you're able to take more on. Like, what do they say? Give a busy person, always give like a task to a busy person, because they're able to juggle and manage. So when people say to me, Laura, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? I'm like, you just do. We just do. When you've got to get it done, you've got to get it done. So, we don't have the shop anymore, because we decided that it's coming up for 2 years. After 2 years ago, we sold it. And I look back now and I think, oh my goodness, like I had a shop with 24 staff that I was doing a place in the sun. I used to do all the ordering every day, wherever I was in the world. The manager on shift would send me a picture of the whiteboard in the stock room with all the lists that needed. I'd go onto the app on my phone. I'd order it all before 4 o'clock. So I had to like bear in mind the time difference where I was in the world. I'd have to say to my house hunters, can you just bear with me a minute? I need to go and order like the fruit
stuff for the shop. Yeah.
Bear with me. And I did that, and then I'd do the staff rotas and payroll every week. But no matter where I was in the world, I would do it. And I look back now and think, oh my word, how did I do that as well as doing this, doing that? But you just do. You just put it in. You just make it work. When you have to do something, you make it work. And there's a saying actually that one of the sound men came up with on A Place in the Sun. It's called wet fat. Work expands to fill available time. So wet fat.
Oh, I like that.
When you know you've got an hour and you've got to, get your online shop done, you've got to do this, you've got to do da 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 da. You get it done because you know you've got an hour. Because I work quite well under pressure, so I'm like, got an hour, got to get it done. However, if you've only got to do one job in that hour, you'll be like, oh, it's okay, and you get one job done. So yeah, wet fat. Work expands to fill available time.
I love that. And that is so true, isn't it? And like so many of us will be like, oh my God, that's a light bulb moment. Yeah, because that thing where you think, oh, I haven't got that much to do today. And then you kind of feel a bit like, I don't know, I just never feel as fulfilled. When I've done 1,000,001 things, I'm like, oh, I feel good now. I've done my to-do list and I like ticking things off. Yeah. Do you have lots of lists?
I have a list in my phone, and I don't think I've ever got to the bottom of it though. But always, just constantly adding to it. Oh, I've got to do that, and that might include things like there'll be an email that will come in from the school, and the school will be like, right, okay, Talia's got this school trip to go on. It's got to be paid for on this day. You've got to go onto the system to do all the after school clubs before this cut-off date. And so there'll be those jobs going in. There'll be, I've got to email this person. I've got to do, my food shopping for New Year or my Christmas shopping. It just always gets added to. But I have to work like that. When an email comes through or I see something, I like write it in my notes. Otherwise, I'll get overwhelmed and I'll forget about it. And that's basically how I operate. Gosh, I mean, what did we do without phones?
I know. Honestly, I walk around with it and attached to it, and I'm like, it's my life. But do you ever get overwhelmed with it? Like, because when you're kind of in an industry that's ever changing, and you do have the school, calendar to sort out, and then a business as well. Do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, that's just too much?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I will kind of go, oh my gosh, it's getting a bit too much, getting a bit too much. But then I know I've got an amazing girl that sort of helps me out with various things, and she's always so good at saying to me, Laura, we all know that you work so well under pressure, and you can do it. And I think that's where we say, being surrounded by other women that like lift you up, and they're like, come on, you can do it. But sometimes I do think, gosh, I do take a bit too much on. But then when I don't have much on, I'm like twiddling my thumbs. Or I'll do something crazy like sign up to the London Marathon. Then I'm like, oh no, what do I do? That is definitely making me feel anxious.
Well, that's in 4 months, isn't it? And you're doing it for Well Child.
Yeah, and I'm not a great runner either. So I just think, oh, don't put pressure on myself, just to be able to get round and do it. And I just have to keep telling myself why I'm doing it and who I'm doing it for. But I mean, I'm thinking that is crazy. What am I signing up to? Because it's trying to fit all the training in alongside, everything else that I'm doing.
You are no stranger to a challenge. Like I said before, you've done Dancing on Ice and The Jump, which I think is the most terrifying show ever. So like, do you think you might be a bit of an adrenaline junkie in that sense?
Absolutely. No, I am a real adrenaline junkie, and I love I just love the challenge. And people always said to me, when you have kids, it will change you because you'll be more aware of how dangerous things are. And I think that's why I wanted to do the jump, because I wanted to prove to myself, actually, I know I love skiing anyway. I'm a big skier. Didn't you do Dancing on Ice or Strictly?
No, I haven't done any of those. No, and the ice dancing on ice terrifies me. I just all I think about is Kay Burley getting a face smacked in, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing the headbanger. And I've chatted to Suzanne Shaw about this, and she was like, yeah, you should do it. I was like, no, not for me. I'm a baby. I get nervous with everything.
Oh, I think you'd be amazing at it. I think you'd be really good. but yeah, no, I love the and I'm doing the marathon actually with Suzanne. I've got Suzanne signed up to it. I was
Well, oh,
like,
she's well, you two are very similar in your outlook, so you'll be absolutely fine. I mean, obviously she's running a lot, but she'll keep you
yeah.
motivated.
Well, yeah, we regularly message. I'm like, oh, I need your help, Suzanne. I really do. But yeah, I love the challenge. I like to keep active. And yeah, I guess dancing on ice and the jump for me, doing the jump, that was really like, just because I've had a baby doesn't mean that I can't continue to be me. And I think that's what you were saying before. It's sometimes easy to like lose sight. You become a mum and you kind of feel like you lose a little bit of yourself. So it's so important to have these little things on the side. Well, I mean, I knew that when I had my two, I have every respect for everyone that just wants to be a mum and focus on them or whatever. I just knew I couldn't do it. I knew that I loved my career and I still wanted my career. So I was sort of really relying on family supporting me with that and the children. And so, my mum used to travel with me when the babies were little on a place in the sun. And then, I've had like other women help me and look after the children and they've been so lucky. They've traveled so much of the world. And that's all thanks to the production company that makes the show, that allowed both myself and Jasmine Harmon, actually, who has got two children like me, for us to carry on working and travel with the kids.
And it's important though that there are those kind of frameworks in place for women going back into the workplace, after they've had children. It's really important because why should really highly skilled women that are great at their jobs have to kind of take a back seat? Like you said, we've seen it with Beyonce. Beyonce's kids go on tour with her. The Spice Girls did it as well. They had kind of had a crash, and it is really important to be role models, I think, to other women, to say, look, you can do it.
Can you hear the kids running around and making a load of
No, I can't. But you see, we're doing it now.
Somewhere.
That's fine. We like that. We've had animals as well. Don't worry. We've had postmen as well, so don't worry. Delivery guys. But it is important, isn't it, that we do obviously keep women in the workplace and keep women kind of, especially if they want to be there.
Yeah, if they want to, that's what I was going to say, because not everybody, not every woman wants to go back to work. They want to just be with the children and focus. And I have every respect for that. I just think we've all got to do what individually feels right for us. And, and also not to judge people for the decisions that they make and how they choose, because what's right for one woman might not be right for another. And sometimes I kind of think people probably go, oh, Laura's here, there, and everywhere, whatever. But yeah, I'm also still there for my children, doing the best I can for them. And for me, it's important that they see that mummy does the job that she loves, and because she's doing the job that she loves, it means that we get to do this and we get to do that they wouldn't get to do otherwise. So yeah, that's quite a big thing for me.
And going back to A Place in the Sun, because you've now got a new format coming out. So where you go and revisit people, because I always end the show and go, did they get it? So they got it, but then what happened? So this is kind of the new format. So just tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, no, it's really good actually, because so many people for so many years have been saying, well, what happens next? Like, why can't you do a follow-up series? Why can't you? And so we've actually been saying for ages, we've got to do something, because we're contacted constantly. But ultimately, obviously, it was down to Channel 4, and Channel 4 eventually said, yes, we'll do it. So last year, there's 20 episodes. I think 10 are going out in January, or 9 are going out in January. January the 3rd, it starts. So 9 going up. So we filmed 20 episodes in the first series, and we're doing another 20 this year. But in every episode, there are 2 revisits. So we actually did 40 revisits this year. So 40 couples, 40 stories. And it's just amazing. What I love about it is we go back and we not only see the couple and see the house and what they've done to it, but we get to do some of the fun things that they love to do now they've relocated. So we've been jet skiing, we've been horse riding, been to donkey sanctuaries. I've been I did this mad water bike thing on the Dordogne in France. I've been to brocants, which are like, you know, French antique shops. I've been to like garden centres, planting plants in people's gardens, and yeah, we just done some really nice like lifestyle things with them, and spend 2 days with them basically, and then yeah, like say like see you later, bye, and you know, great that it's all a success. And you know, there are some stories, I don't want to give too much away in the series, but there are some stories where not things haven't worked out for them like as a relocation, but you think, you know, over a 5 year period things change in people's lives, and you know, it's not always kind of like happy or whatever, but obviously the show is very positive and uplifting, but you know, I think in life there are ups and downs,
Yeah, and it's
so
important to
we
show
follow that.
the reality of that, because that's what I
Yeah,
think. That's what I think I want to see after is. Did they get their happy ever after? Did it end up where actually that didn't work out, or maybe they are separate now, or you know, those kind of situations? I
yeah,
think I'm always left, because I invest so much in the couples when we
yeah.
meet them, and I'm like, oh look, she doesn't like it, and I love guessing like she's not gonna like this one. It's like my favorite thing to do. So I do want to
Oh,
kind of follow their journey. So it's interesting that you say that kind of you have explored that.
yeah.
You know, and have you ever had any couples or where you think, oh, this isn't going well, and kind of how do you pull it back?
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago, we used to do a show called Place in the Sun, Home or Away, and they decide between are they going to buy in the UK or relocate overseas. And so there was one presenter in the UK and one overseas. And I remember once, and this was a long time ago, but I was in France, and the lady wanted to relocate to France, and the man wanted to live in the UK. And she kept pulling me aside saying, I'm deadly serious. If he doesn't do this, that's it. It's over. And I was like, you do realize this is a bit of fun. Like, you know, but it is fun, but also it's serious. Like some people, this is like a crossroads in their lives where they're like, no, we're really making a decision here. And I remember I ended up being sort of a bit of a marriage counselor on this episode where I was like, no, but don't, you know, don't do it if it's going to cause like. She's like, no, but this is what I really want. I've wanted this for such a long time, and I don't know what happened. I can't remember what they chose. Can't remember. Can't really remember what happened. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. But we don't do any revisits of those series. We do revisits of, you know, main episodes where they bought in Spain, bought in France, and they bought in. I did a really lovely revisit with a young couple, Jen and Elliot, who were one of the youngest couples we've ever actually filmed with. I think they were like late 20s, early 30s when they filmed the main show, and they've relocated permanently abroad to Greece. So, and that's during Brexit. We filmed with them in the middle of the pandemic and after Brexit. And so it just shows that, you know, it is all still possible to do these things. And the buying rate now on A Place in the Sun is higher than ever before. I was filming in Tenerife last week, and I was in a hotel, and I went to the toilet, and this lady came up to me and she went, "Excuse me, it is you, isn't it?" I was like, "It is, yeah." And she said, "Do people ever buy on that show?" And people ask me that question less now than they used to, because I think more episodes, you know, are going out where people are buying. But this year, like, oh, it's been crazy the amount of people that, well, not crazy, but people are buying more so than ever. And I think that is probably because since the pandemic, people have realised they can work remotely, and there's a lot more flexibility now than there was before. And people are just a little bit fed up and want to get away from the UK.
Yeah, and they're also a bit like, well, you never know what's around the corner. We might as well do it now. And I think there is that kind of attitude, isn't there? Have you ever felt like that? Like you've ever gone to a place and gone, actually, I can see myself here.
Yeah, I have, and I've come very close a couple of times to like wanting to offer on places abroad. But I foresee myself in the future, like property wise, like where I am at the moment. The children are, you know, they're at school and they're going to be there hopefully for the next 10 years. After that, I kind of see myself kind of going, right, well, I'll downsize and have a little place in the Cotswolds and then have a place in Mallorca. and split my time between the two.
Lovely. That sounds amazing. That sounds
That's
so.
what I'm
I love
working
Mallorca. Mallorca is so beautiful, and there's so much to offer there, isn't there? You know, and it's only like an hour and a half's flight away, so you can still do that kind of the commute and just live a very nice lifestyle.
Yeah, just I think split time between the UK and abroad. I mean, I don't think I've experienced one UK winter like a proper in well all the time I've done the show, because I literally I have been abroad pretty much every other week. And you know, one of the most crazy things for me, because I drive when I'm abroad as well, is every week flitting, driving the left and the right. I
Oh,
get
that's
I get back to the UK and I have to remind myself which way I'm driving around a roundabout.
that would make me feel sick. Again, going back to being a nervous Nelly, that would make me feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And especially now I'm getting older with my driving, I'm like, I don't know if I should be driving. Like post 40, I'm a bit rubbish. I'm a bit, oh, get a panic attack on. But in terms, yeah, because obviously you mentioned before about you sold Lord Roberts on the Green, and now you're developing a brand new fashion brand, which I always see you on Instagram in these incredible locations, in these beautiful outfits. I'm like, wow, Laura looks amazing. Is fashion something that you've always been interested in?
Yeah, well, you know, that kind of was the dress thing came about just because people were always saying to me, "Oh, where's the dress from? Where is this from?" And I didn't even really like realize or think anything about it. And then I just thought, actually, I'd quite like to do something in this kind of space. So I think when I sold the shop, I was like, look, I want to do something else that I'm passionate about, because actually I was never really passionate about tea and coffee. Well, apart from making it as a runner, I suppose I was never really passionate. Actually, I was passionate about it, making it for Dermot. But you know, I never had a passion for like setting up a coffee shop business. It was just something that kind of happened. And so I kind of thought, right, well, now that's gone, where are my areas of interest? And obviously the clothes, because of doing what I do, property, but also travel. So I've got another little business that's bubbling away at the moment. Fingers in pies, you know.
I love it. I love it.
So I've got that going on, and then the clothes. Yeah, I mean, look, as I said, we sometimes, I think as an entrepreneur, sometimes you set things up, they work, sometimes they don't. But I'm all for giving it a try. And if it doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that it's a failure. It just means that, okay, well, I can take from that and I can learn from it and whatever. So yeah,
that's really, it's important that though, isn't it, to have that mindset, I think, as an entrepreneur, in the sense that sometimes you can keep going and like flogging a dead horse out of pride, because you don't want to be seen to be failing when actually you could end up doing more damage. How do you build that? How have you built that kind of mental resilience?
I think that's come about from being in this industry for, you know, as long as I, and applying for jobs and getting a knockback, or going for an audition and getting a knockback, and, you know, even being told at school, Laura, you can't do that. Well, I'm going to try. Like, I think just having that, being told you can't, has just made me kind of want to go, well, actually, I want to try it. And I don't know where it's come from, because I suppose, you know, it's so easy to go, well, if I can't do it, then I won't bother. But I just always felt like I don't want to be that person. I want to try. And if it doesn't work out and I get a knockback, well, it doesn't matter. I'll try again. And that's what I would say to anyone that's doing, you know, anything, even if, you know, you're a younger person and you're at school and you don't necessarily get the grades that you need to. That doesn't mean that, you know, that's it, you're done. You can't then go and achieve what you want to achieve. Of course you can. That's just a little hurdle that you've got to get over, and that's meant to be there because that's meant to help you grow. And I would see those hurdles as little challenges that's going to make you stronger and make you the person that you need to be when you get to where you want to get to.
It's such an important lesson, because for many people, they could look at the immediate goal and be like, oh, it didn't work out, so I'm going to give up on that. But I think from what I'm gathering from you, it's very much more of a long-term, like you're a long-term project, if that makes sense. You know, like, okay, well, this has happened. Now, how has that changed me? How can I apply it? There's very much an application of yourself to many different things. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would, because I would also say, you know, I'm not where I want to be yet in my life. And that doesn't mean, oh, I'm not happy with what I've achieved, because I feel like, I've done a lot and I'm really happy with, and that, or it doesn't mean that I'm not happy with what I've done. Not I need to do more, but I just think as a person, there's still things that I want to learn and I want to develop from and I want to grow. And I think, you always want to be growing, right? You always want to be learning, because when you're not learning anymore, life is boring. So that's I guess just the way that I am.
And do you think, because you've learned all these life skills and like you say, you didn't do a business degree, but yet you've had successful businesses and are developing other businesses now. Do you think there's an element of you that's like, okay, let's just jump in and let's see if we swim and like, let's see how that goes? I mean, how do you approach things?
So I guess I just thought, like, with the coffee shop and the post office, well, I can just become a postmistress. If other people can do it, I can do those exams. Why not? I'll try. That's not to say that I want to be a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon. Like, I'm not. I'll leave those jobs to the real experts. But I was just like, well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna. We can do it. We can make it work. And that was just one of those businesses actually that did. It was a massive success, and I'm so proud of what we achieved. And yeah, we had the ups and downs, and it was tough, and particularly in the pandemic, when everyone was like, well, Laura, you've got to shut the shop. I was like, absolutely no chance. We are not shutting the shop. We've got a responsibility to 24 members of staff. I want to keep as many of them employed as possible for their mental health, for the mental health of the community. It's like, let's turn it into a village shop. Let's deliver the produce out to the local elderly people who can't get to the supermarket or can't get online because the waiting lists are like, they're going on, and there's like 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour waits to try and get on an online shop. Let's just make up boxes and deliver them to people. And I loved it. I know it's probably a crazy thing to say, but I'd do the homeschooling with the kids in the morning, and then I'd say to them, right, let's get in the car and we've got to deliver 15 boxes to the local community. We're not the NHS superheroes, but we're the fruit and veg superheroes from the Lord Roberts. And like, we'd knock on people's doors and I'd like deliver these boxes to like these little old people, and they go, you were just on the telly this morning selling a house in Spain. And I was like, yeah, there you go, there's if you need us, here's your milk and your bread and it was just like, great. We could have so easily gone, right, we'll shut it, put everyone on furlough, just be at home. But I was like, no. I don't want to do that. I want to try and do something worthwhile.
And being productive. It seems to me that you are a real producer, as in like you want to produce or create, and that artistic kind of, whether it's in art or whether it's just giving back in general, that's something that is clearly abundant in you.
I think just being busy, never sitting still, and I don't know, yeah, always on the go. And then again, I think I always hear my teachers saying to me, Laura, you're going to burn out one day. You're going to burn out. And I'm like, well, I've got to 41 and I haven't burnt out yet, so I'm going to keep going.
But then seriously, like, how do you look after your own mental well-being? Like, how do you do it? What would you recommend?
I don't know. I mean, one of my best friends, Hayley, says to me, Laura, like, sometimes I worry about you, that you're just like, you're this little ball of like, bundle it all up in your head. But I don't, like, I do talk. Of course I have times when I've sort of felt like, oh, I failed at that. I mean, look, I was married, and my marriage kind of, we went in separate directions, but even then we're still friends, and we're co-parenting, and it works. But even that, I kind of felt like, oh, I failed, but actually let's we've got two amazing kids. Like, that's the best thing that could have ever happened. But I don't switch off very easily. But then, I'm trying to get better at it, and I enjoy a massage and having the log fire going in the winter months. And actually, Suzanne said to me about running, that the running for her is so great from like a mental health point of view, and like when you're running along and just using that time to reflect and think. And some of the runs I've gone on, like I did a run last week in Tenerife, I was like, I get what you mean. Like it's amazing just to be running and just, the thoughts going through your head, and like, so that's, yeah, quite a big thing for me. But yeah, I don't really know. I don't
And
really
in
know.
terms of the marathon, going back to that, and that is a huge challenge. How are you going to approach that? Is it just going to be take every mile as it comes? Because, like I said, you're a kind of a long haul girl.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, look, Suzanne said to me, "You'll be fine, Laura. You'll be fine." I'm like, all these people that keep telling me I'll be fine. I'm like, I don't even really like running. How am I going to do it? Well, I think there's a few people that I know that are also doing it, so I'm hoping that I'm kind of, gonna lean on them a little bit to help push me through. I said to my mum, because my mum was like, "Oh, well, we can be at this, we'll be at the finish." I said, "No, no. Do you know somebody told me is you need various people at various points at different miles, so it's okay. I'm at 10 miles. Okay, I'm at 15 miles. I'm at But yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to, yeah, maybe just do like work at five at a time. Or I'm getting a book. I've been told to get a book, Chris Evans' book, and apparently, even though have been doing a bit of running, he says that you can start your like real serious training on Boxing Day as the plan to like get through. So that's kind of, even though, as I said, I have been doing various runs, I'm going to look at his book and plan based on that.
I think your mental stamina will get you through. I think the fact that you'll be like, I'll get to the end, even if I have to crawl, I'll be there.
Yeah, do you know, what I'm not doing it for is time.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not, in my head, I'm not thinking, oh, well, I need to do it in this time. No, for me, it's a big deal just to be able to say, I've done it. It's on my bucket list. I want to tick it off. I do not need to do it to prove to anyone that I can do 26 miles in 4 hours, 32 minutes. I'm just like, I just want to say I've done it. That's enough for me.
And what other things are in your bucket list? I'd be interested to know what other places you'd like to go, or what other things are there. As you said before, you're not kind of where you want to be yet, even though you're happy in kind of where you are. What are those things?
Yeah, so I'd like to qualify, get my PPL, my pilot's license. That is definitely something that I want to achieve. It's taken me a little bit longer than I would have liked, but again, there's no rush for it. I've started it. I flew over Lake Como not that long ago with my friend who I was filming in Italy, and I said to her, right, we're going to hire a plane this afternoon and I'm flying you over Como. She was like, sorry, I'm not getting in that thing with you. I was like, yeah, come on, get in. So I had like an instructor next to me. But so I would like to do that. There are lots of countries that I would still love to travel to, like Bali. I've never been to Mexico. I've never been to Canada. Skated with the lovely Colin Ratishniak, who lives in Canada, and we regularly, he like FaceTimed me 2 days ago. So like Canada's definitely, on my list of places to go to. I think in everything that I'm doing, like when I say where I want to be and what I want to achieve, I think for me it's all about working towards financial freedom. That's what I don't need to be a multi-millionaire. Like that's not why I do what I do. I'm like, oh, how lovely would it be to just not have to, worry about, mortgages and da da da. That's why I think I've been doing what I've been doing, trying to work towards that. And then, really helping others. I mean, I'd love to, and the women will all be behind me on this. When the coffee shop closed, they were all like, what are you going to do next? When's the next one? And what I loved about that place was what it brought to the community, employing local people. We had so many young people that we gave them their first opportunity, and some of their mums used to work at the shop, and they used to say, Laura, this is amazing. Like Jack, when he started here, he was 16. He didn't know how to do anything. Now he's like 19. He's going to university. He's got, that belief in himself that he can cook for himself. He can feel confident talking to, customers, and So I think I'll probably end up doing something like that again in the local community, wherever that might be. Kind of helping others. I'd love to do a bit more speaking, I think, at events to inspire like
Yeah.
younger people into, believing in yourself and, achieving. And so maybe go down that route a bit more, like inspirational speaking, perhaps.
Do you know, you would be absolutely brilliant doing that. Katie Hill came on the podcast a few years back. And obviously, she's done so many things as a presenter, but she's built her own like life coaching business. And she was very similar in the sense that she was so inspiring and she'd done so many incredible things and challenges. And then now she has this business where she empowers women to really kind of take hold of their own lives and control of their own lives. And it's an incredibly successful business. I could definitely see you doing that as well, alongside obviously still being on our screens. We still need to see you. I could definitely see you doing that. And I just have to ask you as well, just before we finish up, where did the want to become a pilot come from? I imagine you watching Top Gun going like this.
No, my dad's got a PPL.
Right.
So I grew up. My dad is an absolute legend. Like my dad, just very quickly, because I know you want to wrap up, but my dad's parents both died when he was 4, so he was adopted. And he grew up next to, he was adopted to a family that the next door neighbour was a guy called Ted Taylor, who composed all the music for the Benny Hill show, and he taught my dad to play the drums. So my dad became a drummer, and he was Uncle Bulgaria in the Wombles.
Wow.
And then he had this kind of real like unusual musical kind of background. And then when he was in his early 20s, he decided that he wanted to get his private pilot's license. So yeah, he was flying, and the first ever date that he took my mum on was to Le Touquet for lunch.
Oh.
So yeah, so I grew up with my dad like flying, and then I just always said, really, I should learn to play the drums as well. That should be on the list as well. And then I follow my dad's, legacy with the flying and the drums. But yeah, so that's how it's all come about, really, through him. So my dad and I will have chats, and if I've got any questions about flying, or I need to know any technical things, I go, Dad, tell me about that again, and how does that, and so he can tell me.
Do you know, if someone was to say to me, like, Laura Hamilton is going to be the next speaker in the House of Commons, I'd be like, yeah, I totally believe it, because I genuinely think you could be anything that you decide you want to be, and that's such an incredible, just such a brilliant thing to kind of have about you, and that do you, self-belief, really. Do you think it is self-belief, or do you think it's just why not?
I think that there is an element of self-belief, and I think there's also a kind of, why not give it a try? So when I going back to Rocco, saying to Rocco, are you sure you should? Don't doubt me, Mum. Don't doubt me. I'm like, there's a part of me that just thinks I see me in him, and I absolutely love him for that, and I cannot I can't take that away. Like, I'm just like, you go for it. I believe in you. You want it. You can make it happen. But then also, there's a part of me that I know nothing about the world of football, but I know how highly competitive it is. But then I think, well, so is what we do, right? And we when you want it, you can make it happen. But always be kind. Always be kind. There's no need, to try and tear people down. It's so important, I think, the way you behave and interact with people, because if you're horrible, it's not cool.
No, it's not cool, and it will come back to get you.
And I've got Rocco's now listening to me with a film I like to add.
Oh, bless him. And just my final question, if you had any words to give your younger self, what would they be?
I would probably say, don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's very, very easy to let those voices get into your head. But if you stay focused and you've got a dream, dream big, and you can achieve it.
Oh, that is fantastic. Thank you so much, Laura. It's been absolutely brilliant to chat to you today. I feel, honestly, I'm going away feeling really inspired, like, yeah, actually, you can do whatever you want to do. You could do this, you could do that. So thank you so much for that. I've loved this conversation.
Oh, I've loved chatting to you too. Thank you.
I hope you guys at home have enjoyed being with us. And for more from Laura, you can find her on Instagram at Laura Hamilton TV or visit her website www.laurahamiltonofficial.com. You can also catch her sunny adventures with A Place in the Sun weekdays on Channel 4 from 4 p.m. or stream on channel4.com. For more well-being and lifestyle, you can visit us at our website www.thecapsule.co.uk, where you can also catch up with our previous podcast episodes by streaming from any of our podcast channels and YouTube. As always, please feel free to leave your rates and reviews. I love hearing from you. And if you want to drop any messages to me, then drop them at official capsule. If you'd like to put any questions to future or past guests or comment on anything, just leave us a little message. I will be back next week with another very special guest. So all that's left for us to say today is goodbye. So it's goodbye from Laura.
Bye.
And goodbye from me.